What's going on, everybody? Hope you are having a wonderful week so far. This week is a little different. I have been getting into the NFT world for the last maybe 6 to 8 months. I keep it very DL. I don't really talk about it too much because I know I just like to keep it by myself, really. However, I bought an NFT from 456 Collectors Club, which is created by an artist called Zevi G. He's doing some really interesting things where he's making NFTs that then turns into redeemable physical artwork. So you buy the NFT and then you get physical art with that NFT. Really interesting, and I really like the concept. So I thought I'd get him on the podcast. I'd never spoke to him before, but it was a really, really great conversation. He's had a very interesting life in art, and I love what he does. So without further ado, Zevi G. Zevi G, what's cooking?
What's up? Well, thank you for having me on today.
Dude, thank you for coming on, man. This is a special treat for me because usually this podcast, not always, but this podcast is usually music based because I'm a producer DJ and most of my mates are in the music world. However, I occasionally get the joys of speaking to people in other creative fields, and having you on today is amazing. So I got put onto you by a friend of mine called Marcel Katz,
Yes. Yes.
who is what does he do? Is he an art manager, fine art?
So he's an art dealer, art
Yeah,
manager, art curator. So I think he's got a long list of what he does, but
yeah,
he's most known as the art dealer.
yeah. And he put me onto your NFT project. Um, so I kind of want to go into who you are, and then let's get into the art, and then let's get into the NFT world.
All right, let's go. And I just want to give you a shout out for joining the community early on. I definitely appreciate that. And
Anytime, man.
shout out to Marcel for making that connection.
Yeah, I'm in the NFT world. Like I keep my nose to it, and I wouldn't say I know loads about it. But I buy art that I actually really like. I'm kind of not I'm not like in it just to make a bunch of money, which there's parts of that, but then the other side of it for me is like I like to buy art that I would usually that I really like, and this whole NFT kind of space for me is like a new way to actually buy art that's interesting. Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
I feel that. I feel that. I myself, I create art, but I love art so much. I collect it as well when I
mm,
can, and yeah, it brings a whole new aspect to collecting,
yeah,
and it takes away the logistics. As we dive into me, we'll talk more about a 5 foot bronze sculpture, 6 foot bronze sculpture would come with a lot of logistics just to
exactly.
transport it to a collector.
Yeah,
And on an impulse, you could click that button and boom, you have a $10,000 NFT, $1,000 NFT. So it's pretty impulsive and convenient for collecting. So
totally.
yeah.
So how did it all start with you? Let's go back to the beginning. You become an artist, right? How does that start? Where are you from? All of this good shit.
Okay, so for starters, thank you for having me on. You mentioned it's a music podcast. I love music, and I think all artists deserve respect. And your talent, I definitely respect that in that aspect.
Totally.
NFTs allow for digital artists to now have a medium
Mm-hmm.
where they could, get some recognition for their artwork.
Yeah.
Beforehand, it wasn't a possibility. In 2019, Marcel Katz threw a huge event during Art Basel called the Art Plug Powerhouse.
Yeah.
And at the Art Plug Powerhouse, I displayed a 6 foot aluminum sculpture. So the logistics of that, it was in a huge crate that was 8 feet by 8 feet. I had to have a truck transport it. from New Jersey all the way to Florida. We had a forklift take it off, and around 6 men just to put it in place.
He told me about
correct.
that. He did tell me about that.
And at the same time, I met some artists who they did digital artwork, and I smoked with them, vibed with them. But the Glitch and Chad Knight, and they had the artwork, being projected onto the building.
Yeah.
So that was way before people were really talking about NFTs. So Marcel, I don't even know if he was talking NFTs, but at that point he saw that medium, he recognized it, and he gave it recognition. He was even asking me at that point if I could help him, coach him on how to make sculptures for some of those artists.
Yeah.
And take a look now, 2022, some of them have really blown up in this digital space. I'm a fan of NFTs altogether. It has nothing to do with my project, but as an artist collector, I love this new medium.
So is that how you started, by getting into sculpturing? Was that your kind of like lead into art, or how did that start?
So I guess art was always a part of my life. My grandfather was an artist. He didn't have a lot of money, so my whole mother's side, there was no money there. And as a kid, I wanted, something different, and wanted to do better for my children. And I didn't think of picking up art. And even at the age of 18, I had a Technique 1200s, and I think I even had a Newmark mixer, if I'm remembering things.
Yeah, you're right.
And I had the headphones, maybe the MDX 700.
Okay.
So
classics.
And years ago, and I ended up, and I also stunt rode motorcycles at that time. I ended up getting locked up, and I needed to change my life when I came out. And I got involved in business. I opened up a whole bunch of businesses, and that's where I learned how to fabricate.
Yeah,
I learned how to cast, and just on that aspect, doing it for other people, helping them with their designs and fabricating what needed to be fabricated. I ended up having, some health issues, or when I was 30, so I'm 37 now, going on 38. Yeah. And it really got me to reflect on my life. At that point, social media was big. I love music. I was always out drinking, partying, taking my cars to rallies, stuff like that, posting watches. And, I was getting engagement just for that. And, I decided I wanted something different, and I started painting. And I said, if I could spread positive messages, just uplift people, inspire, all those things, then it's worth it. And I didn't think it would evolve into what it became.
Yeah.
I sold off some of my businesses, and I told myself, with this time, I'm going to create art, and it's just me working with either, a material, a canvas, and I don't have employees. I don't have a huge team. Well, this collection definitely changed a lot of that.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed it, from 2015. I've been creating. So I created a whole bunch of different characters, and then I took one character that was based off a pit bull that I have.
Yeah.
She was a rescue, and it's a female pit bull, and I drew a side profile, and I said, you know what, I'm going to work with this. I made a 3D file, and I just kept evolving from there. Yeah. I said, I'm going to create a whole series, and I had the understanding to fabricate and make things. Mm-hmm. It just takes time, dedication, money, and those things. So I sold a lot of canvases in the beginning. I was making all the sculptures myself. I said, if this business could pay for itself, this is amazing. And I'd produced the sculptures myself in the beginning, and I chose 3D printing. I guess I'm a geek for technology, and I was fascinated by the 3D printing. And I had at one point 12 to 15 printers running at one point. Yes, and I utilized my social media platforms at that point, and it was Snapchat and Instagram, to just showcase my art. And whoever was there for watches, girls, parties, if they wanted to stay, they were able to stay. And then I built from there. But Yeah, it's been an amazing journey, and for me, NFTs. So coming from the business world and selling off some businesses, in 2015, I was already engaging in cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
It was a way for me to hopefully make a little extra income, every single year just by trading the currency.
Yeah.
Um, I understood that, I was a believer. So to have proof back then, I couldn't have it, but I was accepting crypto payments. I was also, investing some of my money in crypto. And to make a collection kind of was a no brainer. It was a matter of when and how. And yeah, that's where I am today. Today I have a NFT PFP collection.
Yeah.
And it was something different, and I guess that's what the drive was. Definitely a logistical challenge, but I'm actually up to date with everything for the Collectors Club. I'm waiting on the next batch of prints to come in so I can sign it.
Mm-hmm.
So I get like OCD, and if I have things to do, I'll just work
done.
till I get things done. But writing my signature and putting the mint number on the prints, that's why I'm doing it, to create that history, to have that digital and the physical connection, and being able to share it and share with the community. It's definitely been an awesome journey. So
I want to kind of go back a little bit, and I want to talk about when you kind of first was like, okay, I need to now make an NFT collection, and then the kind of the process of how you wanted to be a little bit different to what every other NFT collection was out there doing, because the 456 Club is like definitely you're doing different things to what most NFT places or most NFT collectives are doing. So what was the kind of process behind that to start out? Like, how did you, when did you get to the point where you started that, and was like, this is what we need to do?
So for starters, I just got an incoming call from ourselves. If he ends up watching it, that's why I hit.
This isn't live, so I'm gonna text him. I'm gonna text him now, Marcel.
Oh, he's calling again. Yeah, shoot him a text.
Dude,
if it isn't live.
Doing a podcast with Zevi. Stop calling him. That's funny.
He just sent me a text. So thank you for responding, since I'm using my phone.
Yeah. So how did or when was it like, this is what I want to do as a collection. This is how I want to do it, and what was the process behind starting it, and then kind of getting to where you're at?
So the process was, for me, I created a whole imaginary series. So for me, it's all in my head. I got everything laid out. There's from a jewelry district to fashion district to music industry, and so much in 456 land. I actually created over 10 different musical characters.
Yeah.
I've used one of them or two of them, maybe on apparel, and I have released one or two sculptures with a violin. So music obviously is a part of 456 land. There's so much part of 456 land. So ultimately, in the physical world, so Marcel, I did a show with him, let's say 2018, our Palm Beach. It was in our Fear, and I displayed a 20-foot tall inflatable artwork of a character that holds two money bags. Okay. Now that character that holds two money bags, like I was kind of, when creating it, I wanted to poke fun at everyone's obsession with money. You see two money bags, everyone is looking, but here we have a positive spin, and it talks about giving back. There's nothing wrong with, being comfortable, but don't forget about the other humans who are less fortunate. And for me, that's an important message. That's important to me. Now, I didn't put that in my collection because I thought that was a cheesy way to promote a collection, but I do believe it, strongly in giving back, especially, where I came from and, where I am today. So it's something important to me. Now, you could get lost with that character, and the sculptures I made of that character sold right away.
Mm.
And I even sold a 7 foot aluminum one recently that was well over $100,000.
So
And
hang on, you're skipping over these things like it's just like
no,
normal. But like who the fuck buys a 7 foot aluminium or aluminum, as you Americans say, sculpture and puts it in their house?
So a successful real estate guy.
Yeah.
He has a pretty big portfolio, and he owns a couple houses. And when we first spoke about it, is it going to go to Wisconsin? Is it going to stay in New Jersey? It stayed in New Jersey in his second home, and that was convenient for me. I didn't have to frame a whole crate. But yeah, that's people that could afford a work of art that's a one-on-one.
Totally.
They're able to hold it.
So does how does this work? And please forgive me because I don't understand. I don't know this world at all. I don't know the world that you're in. So I'm probably going to be asking stupid questions, but I think people listening will probably be interested in it. So let's say, for instance, in that case, the 7 foot sculpture, does somebody come to you and commission that, or do you make that and then put it on the market?
So that sculpture I made and I wanted to put on the market, and with COVID and everything, I never got to display that particular sculpture in person.
Yeah.
Just those who made it to my studio. It was in my studio for a good 2 years. I had a friend collector reach out to me. They wanted to borrow it for an event, and I'm like, that's a bit crazy. But the individual did me a favor a couple months back. Like we're good friends. So I'm like, you know what? He's hosting an event. He has a beautiful home. It was a charity event. I'm like, it's a bit odd. Like, who's really taking it? But you know what? It's about giving back the sculpture.
Totally.
And he kind of told me he'll probably sell it at the event. And I kind of shrugged it off. I'm like, as long as you cover the bill, I need 5 men to move it, back and forth, display it correctly. And it did sell at that event. They did raise a lot of money at that event, and the conversation started. So it didn't sell that night.
Yeah.
I think I received the wire about a week later.
Amazing.
And then it was delivered, a couple days after I received the wire. So I brought up that particular sculpture because you asked how the connection of the NFTs. And I wanted to point out that in 2018 or 2019, I created a short animated video that was a little under 2 minutes that spoke about giving back. So you see the character walking down the street, passes the food kitchen's running out of food, drops down the money bags, and then arranges that the kitchen's not going to go empty again.
Yeah.
NFTs allow for me to express a message through my artwork that I wasn't able to do through a painting and through a actual sculpture. So when I create a painting, a lot could be interpreted by the viewer, and that's fine. And that's part of art, having that connection, having people engage and talk about it. So that's all part of art, but being able to deliver a message for me was important. So being able to create artworks that are, short animated clips, for me, it was a no-brainer. And that was the first thing I did with the NFT space.
So how did you learn animation, or do you have somebody else to animate for you?
So I had somebody else animate for me. The first clip that I made, I did the voices. So I went into a studio myself. Other than that, the animation, I wrote out a script, and then I worked with individuals to create it.
That's amazing. And I guess this is the thing with, let's say, for instance, going from making the 7-foot sculpture, what's comparing that to NFT, on how many people work on the NFT project compared to your like physical art? Is it the same amount of people that are working on it, or is the physical art more so just you, and the NFT is like you have a whole crew of people working on that? How does that work?
So it all depends. With the physical work, there's a lot of stuff I like to still do with my 2 hands. And right now I'm not accepting commissions because the painting I'm hoping to finish within the next week. The client's been waiting about 16 months, and
Such artists. I love that.
correct. And I'm constantly in touch with him. I feel bad. He did wait that long, but it's a very large piece. It's 6 feet by 4 feet.
Wow.
I'm just about done, and I don't want that rush mentality in my head. So all that I'm doing myself, but I do know in the future I'm going to have to expand. With digital artwork, it is a big team that you need. It's a whole bunch of different aspects. I don't think there's a comparable because to create a 7 foot metal piece, it's made in a whole bunch of different parts. It needs to be welded. You could have multiple people working on multiple parts, and then there's the traditional normal pace that if I work with a foundry, it's going to take me a year.
Yeah.
So people could work overtime, and with the NFT space, I'm seeing a lot of overtime put in versus the real world. It's so new. Everyone's still learning. We're constantly adjusting. We're constantly improving. For me, I did the collection out of my studio. I did not open another LLC. So if anything fails, it's me. It's my art career.
Yeah.
I chose to do it out of my studio because for me, this is another project that's coming out of my studio.
Yeah.
So in the future, I'm hoping to move my studio into a new space soon. I do plan on bringing in an employee to just help out with paperwork and possibly assist in other things that are needed. So it's a team. It takes a village for either. It takes a village to make a large scale aluminum piece, and it takes a village to put together a collection.
For sure, man. For sure. What do you prefer doing? NFT or physical?
I like to paint, but I like more of a concept than actual anything. So to deliver the message of 456 land, to put it out there in the world, and I think the NFTs are allowing me to reach different people that I never would have reached before. It's possible if Marcel told you a price point of my artwork, you would have looked the other way.
Yeah.
But with the NFTs, it allowed a lot of other people to engage with my artwork, and it was exclusive for a long time. Not because people aren't invited. I just made a very small amount, and the price point to start was typically around 10,000.
Yeah.
So yeah, for me it was gaining the reach. So I'm a fan of technology. I'm a fan of a new medium. I think people are sleeping if they don't recognize this new medium. I think so many NFT projects are out there. If I didn't have the business experience to take with me into the project, I think I would have been drowning at this point. But I understand with every business and anything great that you want to do, it could take time, and it could take a lot of endurance getting to that point. But I'm here. I'm up for the challenge, and cool. I continue moving every day.
So something that I want to ask about, like pricing out a physical piece of art that you guys do. Like you mentioned, art's a necessity in everyone's life, right? I believe we all need art in some way, shape or form, whether that's a painting, whether that's music, whether that's food, however that is. I believe that we all kind of love art in a certain way. And in the fine art, the high end art, there's a lot of fucking money. And it does alienate people out of that, which I want to kind of get into the NFT realm after this, because that's where it kind of opens up doors for people. But this is just purely just me being naive and not knowing, but how do you make a statue and you're like, okay, this is going to be 100 grand, this is going to be 200 grand. Is there a reason behind that pricing apart from your hours, or is it you set it high to kind of give it higher value to kind of make more hype on you? How does that work?
So Art's definitely, people study art,
Hmm.
and they spend time studying arts, and nothing is really a simple answer. When I started to sell my artwork, I did Google it. I like to Google a lot of things, even before the podcast. We've I think I've engaged with you on Instagram
Yeah.
and in Discord, but I still even Googled, and I'm not sure if I Googled something wrong, but it says you were born in St. Louis, but you have a British accent.
Yeah,
So
it's very wrong.
I did some homework on how to gauge pricing. What would be an industry standard? And I think at that
Mm,
point they said what I read for paintings were three times your cost and something for your time. And I think my first canvases I sold for $500.
yeah.
I went with that mentality. And when I was 3D printing sculptures, my costs weren't that expensive, but I sold sculptures anywhere from 1,000 to 3,500, 4,500, and then at a certain point it got up to
Mm,
$10,000, and then it kind of went into what does it take to make it.
yeah,
To make a large scale aluminum sculpture, it could cost tens and tens of thousands of dollars.
totally.
The one that we were referencing costed me 70,000 to make, and it was just a whole long process of
Mm,
how to make it. First, I needed to make a prototype.
yeah.
Once I made a prototype, I needed to get the prototype perfect and ready to cast and drop off, at the foundry. So either I
Mm,
needed to get a truck involved to deliver it. I do have a sports car, and I also have a Tahoe, a larger SUV, so I could put as much as I can in there. I don't want to drive around the white van at the moment. Uh, um, but there's the transport of it, and once it goes there, it gets chopped up, that prototype, and it goes into the casting phase. I need to make a mold.
yeah.
So the first one for every single sculpture is a mold, and it depends how many you're making. If you're making 10 or 15, the cost of the mold and the prototype gets absorbed very, very differently.
Mm,
But when you're making a 101 or you're making a 103, that cost gets involved. And I think overall, the money I'm paid for my time, even at a high rate, isn't necessarily a dream pay job,
yeah.
that other people could think of. I have a painting that I was back and forth if I wanted to, sell it. I have two interested people in it, for around $30,000, and
Mm,
I spent the whole year painting that painting.
yeah.
So even though the number could sound extreme, it was a whole year, and a lot went into it. And if I broke down the hours, it may not be that much per hour. And I'm choosing to hold them. Maybe I could ask more, at a different point. But now when I say 30,000, nobody jumps off. Nobody jumps off their chair, and the conversation continues.
Yeah.
It's part of a series I'm in the middle of working on, and
Mm,
that's why I haven't been eager to sell that artwork. So that's how I personally gauge it.
yeah.
How much time went into it, and it's also it has to do with how many are left. What's the availability of it?
Yeah.
So if,
This
it, if
this
it's
is
a
this is the thing that I love about like art in general, because it's very different in music. Music is you work however long on your record and then it gets released and then people can listen, especially nowadays people can listen to it practically for free. And my kind of description of how music is released nowadays is a free art gallery, and you can go and take as much of the art out as you want and put it in your back pocket and not pay for it.
so in one regard, I don't mind putting a sculpture in the public and letting everyone come take pictures of it. I don't need the actual cash that someone's paying to enjoy and to
Yeah.
have that positive vibe or the
Mm,
good vibe throughout their day just by being around the sculpture. But just like music, who owns the rights to that music, and who owns that actual sculpture that people are having emotions about, good emotions, good vibes that are coming through that. So it. art, it's really supply and demand. If it gets to the point where the demand is higher than the supply, that continuously raises the price.
Yeah.
And just like NFTs, for art, it's probably a controversial topic of why this person's going, but there is some manipulation with art, just like the NFT
Of
market. You
course.
could take some. I believe they call it chandelier bidding,
Hmm.
and most auction houses have been caught chandelier bidding. So it's not something new. Manipulation could happen anywhere. I try to take a very organic approach with everything on me. Just like you asked me before we got on, I'm an open book. It's what I believe in. I have nothing to hide, and I believe in art. I believe, that people should express their talents,
Mm.
and I think, it doesn't just have to be one. Like my son, I have a 3.5-year-old son. He loves to paint. He loves to color. He also loves music. I sing to him every single night. So,
Amazing.
they're correct. So that it could be multiple, forms of art,
Yeah.
that people can engage in. So.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I just think in the fine art world, there's a stigmatism to it, and this is maybe just my opinion, or from what I see in the past, is that I don't think people realize how much time it takes to make one piece, and a lot of what people see is just the end price. In your situation, let's use just what we've been talking about, that product, the sculpture. It sold for $100,000, but it cost you 70,000, and then out of that profit, you still have to pay taxes. You still have to do all of the good stuff as well. And a year's worth of work, you've just made 30 grand, which realistically isn't that much money when something's costs 100,000. But I think what people only see is that end price and don't realize everything. It's the same. It's the same in our industry. Somebody might earn $10,000 to do a show. They don't. You out of that, you then don't realize how much of that $10,000 actually goes to the artist. It's barely anything, because people get paid and there's percentages and taxes, and then also you have all of that time perfecting your craft to get to where you're at.
Correct. So yeah, with sculptures, it is a bit tricky. Even with canvases, the amount of time that could go into a canvas, and it's not as glamorous the process.
No,
The final product is what's glamorous. Seeing somebody wake up day in, day out, just sitting there painting, over and over and over on the same spot. So I'm OCD with what I create and what I put out there. I even went through a lot of the artwork, and that's what I have in front of me at the moment. But this is a list even from the collection. It's just a whole bunch of different numbers where I'm going to be doing touch-ups. This is my final round of touch-ups on this collection.
yeah,
But it takes a lot of time, and going through 4,560 different pieces of artwork, it's intense. It's extremely intense. And I did that this week. I went through it more than once, and now I'm going through what was minted, and that's this final sheet. So after we get off, I'm gonna go through it's 1,282, and I already started with it. I just wanted to confirm, everything. And for me, yeah, it's about what I put out there, so it looks for the next generation. And the fine art and that society could have its hierarchies, and art's a very, very powerful thing, and it gets documented and preserved for the future. And typically, when people understand that this artwork will be preserved, that's when the chase goes on, where every single collector is hunting for that particular artist, and it drives the prices to an insane level very, very quickly sometimes. And congratulations to those artists at that point. They're getting the full recognition and getting paid for it. But I don't believe you create for the money. You create for the passion, and then the money follows through. And I assume by music, it's the same thing.
it's exactly the same thing. It's like, how many years did you have to grind to get to a point where you can actually sell your art, and also, you can sell your art, but sell your art for a living, and it takes so long for anyone to get there.
Correct. And I still remember the first time I sold the sculpture for 10,000, and then for 40,000, and then for 50,000. It takes its time, but if that's not the sole motivation, everything comes. You gotta work off your passion, and that's what this collection is for me. It's my passion for art and the technology. It's a very inviting collection at this point. When I sell it, the goal is for the collection to sell out, and for the price of an NFT to continuously go up. But for me, I set one price, which is at the primary market, and it's to be able to engage and share with everyone. And all the production is underway at the moment. So the art prints are in production.
So let's roll back, because a lot of people don't know about the collection. So I want to kind of go back to what is the NFT. What was your kind of concept between doing an NFT and physical? So how did that start, and what was the kind of, okay, this is what I want to do?
So as an artist that traditionally creates small editions, so it's very interesting, and it moves very, very quick. So when I started with the NFTs, I did a show in Philadelphia in June of last year, where I had a couple short clip animations that were for sale with physical artwork displayed at the same time. And it was the first physical digital art gallery in Philadelphia at that time. So that connection happened, in the summer of last year. PFPs are collections that really took over the digital space, the NFT space, and I think it's our culture that kind of pushed it. So just like everyone else.
What does PFP mean?
So PFP stands for profile picture.
Okay.
So I don't know why it needed 3 letters, but a PFP collection stands for a profile picture. So the way Instagram, Twitter, and all the platforms, they have it to where we have an icon with the picture. Yeah. So our social connections kind of force these profile picture concepts. Yeah. And the Bored Ape is, a very popular, well-known PFP collection, and that's why people use it for their profile pictures. Yeah. So after doing the limited animated clips that I dropped, I also did another collection with Maker's Place November 2nd of last year. I wanted to do something different. And this is, the question that you're asking. How did I come up with this? I didn't want to just do another profile, picture collection. I wanted to document the times. Art is all about, documentation. And we're living in a times where these collections were at a all-time high as far as recognition goes. And never in my life did I think I would, create one artwork with so many different attributes where, one could have a hat this way, a hat this way, and it's all the same thing, but they're all unique one-on-ones. And I think about the future, and I think about 30 years from today, when you have, art print that's hand signed, it has your mid number, it's on your wall, and it's holding, a spinner hat, something you typically wouldn't see. And it would take you back to the time of the generative collections, the PFP generative collections. So for me, this is the ultimate art. And I knew I had a challenge ahead of me. I needed to charge a higher price point to make everything a reality. It wasn't cheap. The production for the art figures are underway as well. And I needed to give a deposit of 50% just to get started. Yeah. And that deposit has been given. And just the way I structured, the money that came in, I made sure that everything was deliverable, and I was able to honor my commitment. And by honoring it, this is the art project that I envisioned. And I feel like the collector needs to have it already. And we're so close to the redemption point. But like I said, I'm still waiting for more prints. But the prints are going to be the physical asset that you're going to be able to redeem with the NFTs. That's what makes it different. The fact that it's the fact that it's a profile picture collection with physical backed assets.
Amazing.
So you said it wasn't live. Can you give me 1 minute?
Yeah, of course, man. Of course.
Sorry about that. I had somebody stop by.
No worries, man. It's fine. It's fine. Um, so I want to go into the redeeming, and the kind of process, because I know a lot of people kind of that are listening to this probably don't even understand the NFT world. Um, so I'm trying to get as much detail so that they can kind of understand the project and what you did. So your idea was to create an NFT that then can be redeemed into physical art as well. So
Correct.
does that mean that somebody has still owns the NFT and they then go and have the opportunity to buy the one-on-one, or they get that one-on-one with the NFT? How does that work?
So the NFT continues to be a key to future redeemables.
Mm-hmm.
So you would go on the website.
Mm-hmm.
There would be a connection to your wallet,
Yep.
and that application the software that we're going to have on the website will be able to recognize which NFT you're holding.
Mm-hmm.
You put your shipping information in there, and you'll be able to redeem through there. Now, that same software is going to be able to tell if it was or if it wasn't redeemed and for what was redeemed. So the initial commitment was for an art print and an art figure.
Mm-hmm.
So there's going to be more than one redeemable. It's
Yeah.
not a one-time redemption. So the software that we're going to have on the website, we'll keep a database of what was and what wasn't redeemed. So you do keep the NFT. The NFT serves as a certificate of authenticity. And in 20 years from today, there is no better, certificate of origin. So it's really utilizing the technology and, the way it was really designed for,
Mm-hmm.
and connecting it with the art. So you do keep the NFT. The NFT grants you access to live events and future redeemables, whether it's in the digital space, future drops, future merch drops, stuff like that. Aside from the collection, it's also a social experiment.
Yeah.
So community building is part of these collections because it's a large amount. So having the community, there'll definitely be merch that's offered to the community before the public. So holding that NFT will give you continuous rewards. But, once you claim the print, you're going to have that in the physical form. And then on the website, it's going to show that NFT was redeemed.
Yeah. Amazing. And when you redeem something, so you're doing statues and physical arts, do you then have to buy them on top, or is that just you don't get that free with the NFT?
So you get that free with NFT, you actually do. So the art print you do get for free, and the art figure you get for free as well. So with the mint price, the mint price is 0.333 of an Ethereum.
Yeah.
A portion of that money was allocated right away for production. And then there's also a raffle. We've done some raffles. A small percentage was held aside for the raffles. So everything was designed to be there for the community, not just, grab money and run. And that's why, everything is, underway, all the production's in order. And, in the Discord, if anyone listening joins our Discord, the community will welcome you in, but you'll hear the constant updates. We also hold social audio settings, and we're there just to give updates to all the holders. So yeah, the one NFT does get you the physical art print as well as the art figure, and that's the work of art that you're really buying. And what I believed and what I set out to create, an amazing piece of artwork, coming out of the studio that engages with the current technology, engages with our current times, and the interest of what's popular today. So I felt like it was just the perfect work of art that could be preserved for the future.
No, and I think there's something that I really enjoy about this is because there's a lot of people kind of, how it is, and I'm sure you've kind of come across it an awful lot with when you start an NFT project. It's, I can go and buy that. I can go just copy and paste that JPEG. It's like, it's not art. And I think this is what I like about what you're doing is you're actually bringing the digital art into the physical world. And I feel like this is kind of going to go more and more this way in the future anyway. Um, but
Oh, definitely,
I think it's super
definitely.
special with what you guys are doing in creating a community in okay, you buy the NFT and the NFT is the key to everything else of what we do for the project. And whether that's in another NFT, whether that's a physical art, whether that's something, I think that's really, really special. And also the price point for some people still might be expensive, but 0.33 Ethereum, I don't know what that is nowadays because it changes, but it's still very affordable for somebody that's not earning crazy amounts of money to be able to buy into something really interesting and some really good art.
Yeah, and that was the goal, to offer the best price point. Now, 0.333 of an Ethereum fluctuated from 800 to 1200
Yeah.
throughout the process, but it definitely grants a lower entry point, a lower price for people to be able to become art collectors and be able to collect a piece of this art history. So by combining all those together, that's the art project, and that's what you're getting. And people could right click and save a picture of an NFT, but you can't right click and save a redeemable. So if you right click and save, you're not going to be getting a print. You right click and save, you're not going to be getting an art figure. And if you right click and save, you're not going to be you're not going to have the ticket into the events and future drops. Kind of like you mentioned, there will be future collections, and this will grant you the early access or a better price. And yeah, there's so much that is in store for the holders. We're talking about the redemptions. So as it rolls out, I think everyone's going to be happy.
Yeah.
And that's what really sets this collection apart from the other collections. You're actually getting redeemables, you're getting rewards, and you're buying into an art project. It's not just a project made by some developers. I'm here, I'm engaging, and you're buying into the community as well. So I fully believe in it. And for anyone that wants to check it out, it's www.456collectorsclub.com.
Amazing, man. I love it. I love it. How did you start the whole, because for anybody that doesn't know, NFT, a lot of NFT communication is based on Twitter or Discord or both. How was the process of setting up the Discord and kind of getting people actually interacting on the Discord? Because that's a hard thing to do, is to get people involved on that. I'd say that's probably one of the hardest things that I see from the outsets of the NFT world.
It's definitely work. It's definitely work. And building an organic Discord, there's a lot of gimmicks, a lot of bots you could get. And typically when you see a Discord has 250,000 in a week, you know exactly where those followers came from. Just the organic approach, I go in there when I can to engage. It's just a chat room. So just like a WhatsApp chat, it's no different. I think we all have a couple minutes we could hop in, and then there are moderators. So there are moderators that are hired just to help with Discord. If someone's being abusive, in there to mute them. This way it's fully watched 24/7. And as far as myself, I hop in when I can to engage personally. And the community is super strong. So, the community hops in and engages as well. And, you definitely need that support. And that support, is very helpful, to say the least.
Yeah, I like it in there. I don't spend all my time in there, but I jump in when I can. And it's a really nice crew of people. For me, it's really important because compared to a lot of other NFT projects, it seems there's definitely smaller numbers, but it's quality over quantity. And for me, that's what I'm looking for generally, is to have a group of people that all are like super respectful of each other, but also just are in it for the same thing. And there's a lot of NFT projects that aren't, and a lot of it just seems like a lot of people just trying to make a bunch of cash. And 456 Collectors Club, it seems a lot more authentic and kind of togetherness of a community.
It's all about humanity and good vibes, and the Discord definitely represents that. And yeah, it's all about the community. There are community members who are not mods who sometimes do a better job than mods. And they're eager to onboard anyone that hops in with a question, and that's real, that's organic. And as we continue to sell the collection and build up the community, that's the goal, to keep it the way you're seeing it now, just full of positivity. We're all different people, totally. But there needs to be that mutual respect, and that's what 456 Line is all about, and the Collectors Club. So
I think it's amazing because it's allowing, and the NFT space is allowing so many more people the ability to be buying art. And I think for me, that's the really special thing, is that it just actually opens the world to, it makes the world smaller, as in more people can get involved, and the communities more communities grow out of that. With regards to the statues that you're making for the NFT project, the redeemables, how are you making them?
So I made the first prototype a couple years ago. It took me some time to finish it. So it was a work in progress for about 3 years. And that's what I use as the prototype and the images that I posted up. And I linked up with Toy Cube, and that's who I hired for the production.
Yeah.
And like I mentioned, the deposit was given. And the production's for the whole run. 4560. Some colors are much more limited than others.
Yeah.
Some are 200 or less. Some are 300, 400. So it's broken down between 10 different colors. It's about a 3-month process, and then I have to accept the shipping and the logistics of everything, getting it out to people. So yeah, that's in progress. I brought Marcel into the project to help me with things like that, and he actually made the connection with the Toy Cube, with the founder of Toy Cube, and that's who I went in contract with.
Nice.
So yeah, I started engaging with him very early on. I didn't want to just chance working with a random manufacturer. I wanted to work with somebody that had a lot of experience. I don't have to doubt their quality. I've bought in, some of their artworks in the past from other artists, and I'm comfortable for them. So this is my first larger production, and it was a no-brainer. I wasn't shopping for the best price. I was shopping for, a fair price, with the best quality that would represent my art. So Toy Cube is the manufacturer for this collection.
That's cool. I love that. How do people get involved, and how do people buy an NFT if they want to get involved with the project?
So you need to have an NFT wallet. Once you have an NFT wallet, Ethereum is the token to purchase the NFT on. And the reason Ethereum is the token is because these NFTs are created on the Ethereum blockchain. And they live on the Ethereum blockchain. So if you have a wallet where you could purchase an NFT, it's going to be living on the Ethereum blockchain, but your wallet's going to be used to show it, because it's able to show what's on the blockchain. You go to the website, www.456collectorsclub.com, and you hit mint. It's simple like that. And definitely, once you purchase one, hop into our Discord, verify yourself as a holder, and engage with the community. It's a great community full of awesome people, and there'll be community members eager to onboard you if you have any questions. And a lot's on the website. A lot of information is there. Also, the socials on Instagram, Twitter. Everything's there in the link trees, or in the bios. If you want to learn more about me, about the project, it's all out there. And even if you don't purchase NFT, feel free to hop into Discord if you have questions, or show up to Twitter Spaces or Clubhouse. But yeah, we're an inviting community, and it's a collection of 4,560. So once they mint out, the only way to purchase one will be from the secondary market.
So if somebody was like, okay, they're on your open, is it on the OpenSea? It is on OpenSea, isn't it?
Yes, so OpenSea is the secondary market.
Yep. So if somebody goes onto OpenSea and is like, I want this one, there's like a specific one somebody wants, they have to then go and buy from OpenSea, correct?
That is correct, because if you mint from the website, it will be blind.
Yeah.
And you'll only see the reveal, after you purchase. But you have a chance to get a rare NFT. There are 70, extremely rare NFTs.
Mm-hmm.
But aside from that, if you want a specific one, you do have to buy in the secondary market. And I think that's why there have been sales on the secondary market. Otherwise, if they could buy it a bit cheaper, why are they paying? So yeah, the secondary market has its advantages if you do want a specific one.
Totally. How do you pick? This is some insider information that I don't have a fucking clue about. But when you mint on your website, who chooses who gets who?
Software.
That's cool.
And there's actually a name to the software, because I did do a little homework on it. I wanted to make sure that I was comfortable with what the developers were doing. So yeah, it's all software that generates. And I spoke to them about early stages of another contract for the 456 Collectors Club, and we were talking about that. And it's all part of the smart contract. So they were telling me that they designed a completely different new generators on a new contract. It's going to be generated a bit different, but yeah, it's generated through software, and that's how it gets out there.
I love that. So what makes a 456 Collectors Club NFT rare compared to non-rare?
So they're all rare. The extremely rare ones will have something very unique to it. Like we do have the ceremony collection. We have the all one color collection, which represents one color from the collection. I collabed with Trina, so I created 10 with her inspiration. So yeah, more. It was created to stand out. A completely different background and different attributes that you're not going to see configured throughout the general collection. But in the general collection, there are so many unique ones that are also extremely rare, extremely cool.
That's cool, man. I can't remember the number of the one I've got. Let me pull it up. I'm
very curious.
I got 333.
Oh, that's an amazing number. I actually signed your print, I believe. Give me a second.
Yeah, 333, the red one with the tuxedo and the diamond in his hand.
You have one or you have two?
I've got one.
333. It's a very, very cool number that you got.
Yeah.
It's a really cool NFT. Yeah, so I've signed up to 400. So your prints in my studio.
That's must take a long time signing. Are you signing them and then putting the numbers on it as well?
Yeah, that's correct.
Damn, that takes a lot of time.
Yeah, and I've gotten them all signed. Everything that's been in my studio, so I don't mind putting the work in, and I'm just waiting for the next batch to come in, just so I could get closer to the redemption.
And are you getting those printed somewhere else as well?
They're being printed in Florida, in Miami, and then they're being shipped to me. And I did engage with the local print houses. But I was very specific on a fine art print, and I
Yeah.
had, a lot of accommodations I needed, and it worked with the publisher that I'm working with.
Amazing, man. Amazing. Dude, we've just done an hour, and I think if we keep talking about NFTs, people are going to be a bit brain frazzled.
Yeah.
So, like, I could talk all day to you about it, and I'd love to like catch up in future and talk about it, because it's something I love what you're doing. It's really special. But let's get that website again before we leave. And how can people follow you on Instagram?
So thank you for having me on, and I look forward to chopping it up with you again in the future, either on here or off here. And the website is 456collectorsclub.com. And on OpenSea, it's listed as the 456 Collectors Club official by Zevi G. My Instagram handle is Zevi G Art. My Twitter is Zevi G. So yeah, check out the socials, the link tree, the website will be in the bio, and we're welcoming everyone to the community and to take part of this amazing art project. So thank you again for having me on. Thank you everyone for tuning in, and it was a pleasure.
Thanks for coming on, man. I really appreciate it, and hopefully we'll catch up soon.
Definitely.
Peace, man. And that's a wrap. Thanks for listening. Thanks for coming on. Please share it. Please send it to your friends. And please hit subscribe. Give us some comments. Enjoy. Keep safe.